What is going on, FA Nation? Jonathan Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the MLB DFS Playbook live here on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm social channels. James, we are ending the week here with a nice little slate over on DraftKings. We had Justin Vreeland on the playbook today, breaking all of that down for everybody. How we doing, man? How we feeling about closing out this week?
First and foremost, John, happy frickin' Friday. And we're feeling good. You know, I've actually enjoyed these bigger slates of late. The the ownership on like a pitcher on a 6-game slate is getting very old. Like the 70% Mariners pitcher for 4 straight days got very old. Because it's like, well, I can't fade him because 70 freaking percent of the field is gonna play him, and they really do have good upside. So that's been a little frustrating. So it's good to get a 12-game slate where ownership just is kind of depressed now. There is course. So that is obviously in play. And it's a team in the Mets that have been a little better of late as well. And they're not like outside of 2 guys, not overly expensive. So obviously that's where the chalk is going to be. But like everything else, nobody's playing. Like it's the Mets. And then the field is just the field is your oyster. So it's a nice 12-game slate to end the work week. Of course, the work week doesn't stop for us 7 days a week. We do have this content on fantasyalarm.com.
Memorial Day weekend, we have a nice little long weekend for many as well. Shout out to those who served with the Memorial Day there.
Right. Shout out to those who serve for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's a good slate. I wouldn't say a lot of good pitching, a lot of great pitching. There's a lot of good pitchers on today's slate, but there is a lot of really good offenses that we're going to be taking a look at here, John.
Yep, 100%. While we take a peek over on our Vegas odds and totals here, and let's see if we can identify some trends that may have changed since this morning's podcast.
Yeah, so let's take a look at Vegas. Hunter Brown opened as the biggest favorite, facing Oakland, the aforementioned Oakland Athletics, and that has not changed. It has only, gotten wider. Opened at 226. On some books, it's up to 275. I actually see on PointsBet it's minus 290. You can get that at minus 260 over on DraftKings Sportsbook. That's actually the best odds you can get on Houston right now. George Kirby minus 155 on DraftKings Sportsbook there. The Seattle Mariners are hosting the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Cy Young candidate Mitch Keller. Max Scherzer is a solid minus 210 favorite. We mentioned the Mets are in Coors. They take on ex-Red Sox great Connor Seabold, who has been pitching lights out. And by lights out, I mean you want to target as many players against him as you possibly can. Those are like the only really big favorites. Baltimore minus 140 against Texas is interesting, especially with how much Grayson Rodriguez has kind of struggled against both splits this year. Jared Schuster taking on Taijuan Walker, the Philadelphia Phillies, minus 155 as well. So those are the most notable money lines we have. In terms of over-unders, 9 implied runs in Yankees Padres, Joe Musgrove versus Randy Vasquez, who's making his major league debut. 9.5 runs implied on DraftKings, 9 pretty much everywhere else, but interesting to see 9.5 peek its head through there, especially considering Joe Musgrove has not pitched that well since returning. We see now a total in Philly, Atlanta that opened at 9.5, now up to 10 across the industry, and the over is actually the favorite in most of these spots. So that's definitely something that we're going to want to target. 9.5 implied runs now in Washington, KC, another game that opened at 9 has risen. Same thing with Mets, Colorado, open at 11, now at 11.5 across the industry, mainly due to the Mets having a 7-run implied total in this evening's slate, maybe the most we've had yet, mainly because we've had crappy teams in Coors for like a large part of the season. And 9 runs implied in Boston, Arizona that opened at 8.5. Pretty much 9 everywhere. Slate low 7 runs in your late night hammer, Pittsburgh, Seattle, but George Kirby versus Mitch Keller, that should be a fun pitcher's duel there.
100%. Speaking of pitching here, Kevin Gossman, Mitch Keller, your top 2 guys, up over $10,000. When we did the show this morning, we assumed that maybe it would be Hunter Brown as the most rostered pitcher. I see Kevin Gossman as the expected highest rostered starter. Going up against Minnesota today, does that surprise you at all that the field is finally not just shoving all their chips in on someone going up against Oakland?
Um, yes and no. Like, I understand getting to Gossman because he's had so many strikeout, like high upside strikeout games. I mean, 4 times this year he's gone for 10 plus strikeouts, including 13 in his start against Seattle already this year. And like when you look at Kevin Gossman this year, got torched against Houston, got torched against Boston, and then has just not allowed anything else. Like for every other
Mhm.
start, it's just been pretty much domination after domination. You and I didn't really talk much Kevin Gossman, but I completely understand it. We're also homers to we like Minnesota more than we want people to know.
Yeah.
So, but I understand it. It's I think just naturally the thought, like you said, is like just target Oakland, target Oakland, target Oakland, especially when you have a righty on the mound. But Hunter Brown, I guess, hasn't been that same dominant guy as he was earlier in the year. And it's not like Minnesota has been a amazing offense. They're very league average. They have
Mhm.
a high strikeout rate um, against right-handed pitching. So I could see getting to Gossman, and then same thing with Mitch Keller. Like I could see myself getting to Mitch Keller too, because yeah, although we targeted Seattle for a few games, like it's not like their offense is good. They just didn't face any good
No.
pitchers. JP Sears allowed 1 run last night, and then they were like, you know what? Or 2 runs. They were like, you know what? Let's take you out after 59 pitches. That feels like a
Yeah.
good idea. And the bullpen
Yeah.
first batter. Like I messaged you last night, JP Sears, I think before the end of the message, in play runs Ty France second home run,
Yeah.
like before the end of the message.
Yeah.
So like I'm perfectly fine getting to Mitch Keller, who's also been incredible to say the least. I mean, 40.
I mean, obviously never expected
Right,
this from Mitch Keller
right,
here. So
right.
absolute breakout season for him.
Yep,
Seattle, 25% strikeout rate on the
right,
year against right-handed pitching here. So yeah, 100% in agreement with you. Hunter Brown, obviously a little bit of a low-hanging fruit, and maybe now at a little bit depressed rostership there as well makes him appealing if you want to save the $400. And then we get into Jesus Luzardo, who's a guy that we are always very intrigued by, like his potential,
yep,
right? He's a highly touted prospect. He hasn't really played up to it. Last year, he looked pretty good at times, but certainly very inconsistent. Now he draws an Angels lineup that we look at them and they have a lot of guys that we know hit left-handed pitching. If you look at the last 2 weeks, now strikeouts percentage only, the Angels have the fourth highest K rate against lefties at 27.5%. That said, they also have a 900 OPS, a 230 ISO, and a 387 WOBA against left-handed pitching. So Luzardo, you may be looking at those strikeout numbers lately and being like, oh, 15 strikeouts over the last 2 starts, a couple of good outings, a tough one against San Francisco. See the recent numbers again for strikeouts against the Angels here. I'm not going Luzardo tonight at this spot. He's a full fade for me.
full fade, full fade. And we're gonna get into some so the other side of the game that we like. Like we have
Right.
I have 3 lineups made and I have the same shortstop, newsflash, and all 3 of them residing at 2200 on Los Angeles. And that's obviously subject to change, but like that's just where my builds took me.
Sure.
Um so yeah, I'm full fade Luzardo. You look at the ownership too, John. Like he is going unowned. Not surprising. Just for
Right.
like a few percent, just for a few more like ownership. Like Mitch Keller's like around his range. Hunter Brown's only like 10% more. Like I'd rather just play those 2 guys for similar price points. 10 out of 10
Yeah.
times with in current form of Luzardo and the
Well,
Angels.
that's so many people are playing Gossman. It seems unlikely that they're seeing double spend up.
Right.
So Keller, you assume, is going to have a pretty depressed
Right.
price tag. Same thing with Brown. Um, in the mid tier ranges where kind of that next ownership jump comes.
Yep.
You have Kirby against Pittsburgh. You have Scherzer. You have Sale. You have Peralta. You have Bieber. How would you kind of prioritize this middle range group here?
So I think Kirby's a really good play. The the strikeouts lately have been more encouraging because he just wasn't striking anyone out to begin the year. Like 5, 4, 3, 5. His first 4 starts of the year. Then he had that like great game against Oakland in real life but he had two strikeouts against Oakland, who strikes out more than anyone against righties, and then rebounded, Texas 9 strikeouts, Boston 6, and they're scoring runs for him. At least they have been in all but like 2 starts. I like Kirby a lot. Pittsburgh's offense has obviously faded. Peralta looks like the guy that the field is going to get to, which you and I have talked about ad nauseum this year, could be concerning for those playing Peralta because the Giants offense, mainly Michael Conforto, is like white hot scorching the earth right now.
Right.
And they have
stolen base last night too.
I know he's doing everything. But their offense has been really annoying to face against righties. The strikeouts are why people are getting to Peralta there. He obviously has as much strikeout upside as anyone else. I'm not going to play Scherzer. I understand he's a big favorite. And he's coming off a, really good start, 2 in a row, really. But like the back,
it's a really low strikeout.
Yeah, man.
Which is interesting.
But like the back is clearly an issue, right? Like the back is an issue. He is not throwing as many pitches as he would probably like, or like people would want at a 90. Like how many pitches is Max Scherzer going to throw tonight? They're pitching him every 7 days at this point.
Right.
I guess tonight is like a normal rest, 5 days. I don't know. I don't feel good about like getting to a $9,200 Scherzer when, he's been good in his last 2 starts, but now he's in Coors.
Right.
I guess like of this tier, it would probably be Kirby for me.
Sure.
And like
Chris Sale's another one that's getting some decent ownership love here tonight. And listen, current form Chris Sale, very good.
He has been.
Arizona's another team, though, over the last couple of weeks, really starting to turn on the offense against lefties. 467 slug, 788 OPS, 338 WOBA, almost a 25% strikeout rate here. So, I think that there's we like Sale tonight, but certainly recent form Arizona has been hitting them pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, that's you and I typically target lefties when Arizona's,
right.
On
Longo,
the slate.
Rivera, Moreno, Walker, Marte, like a lot of guys in that lineup hit lefties.
Yeah. So like I could see a case for both. Like I'm fine getting to Sale in tournaments, but I'm also like Arizona doesn't strike out against lefties at all. Like they haven't all season long. At least the people in their lineup, only one person in their lineup projected has a higher than a 23% strikeout rate this year.
Mm-hmm.
7 of 9 have under 20% of a strikeout rate. Like,
right.
I don't know. I'm kind of off of Chris Sale. I can understand if you want to get there, but I like. You and I talked about it, and I haven't really moved off. There's about 3 guys in the mid tier under 8K that I'm very interested in.
Yep, 100%. Let's get into it here. Detmers is the first one that you and I are looking at here tonight. Really good strikeout numbers from Detmers here lately, including obviously a 12 strikeout game, which more of an outlier. But again, 6 or 7 strikeouts in all but 2 starts this season, going up against a Miami team that again on the year just really hasn't hit the ball all that well in general. So Detmers here is certainly got to be one of our favorite guys under 8K tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly who I'm pinpointing as well. You have to navigate Jorge Soler and Garrett Cooper for like power, and like De La Cruz has been really good, but not in like a power sense. He's just been putting the ball in play and finding, like, he had 4 hits in Coors the other day, all all singles. It was like or maybe a double mixed in, but not like the monstrous power. Like we saw Soler hit home runs in 3 straight games, and he has monster numbers against lefties. Garrett Cooper home runs in 2 of 3. But Reed Detmers has an 11.7 K per 9 this year, 29, almost 30% strikeout rate, only a 0.89% home run per 9 innings rate. Like there's a lot of things trending in the right direction. The guy that I think the Angels hoped they were getting last year, and he kind of faded. And he hasn't been great this year, but things are getting better. I love Detmers. I am slightly interested in Musgrove, and this has nothing to do with Kyle Gibson from yesterday. Sorry to the power play boys. Musgrove has been bad, but he is not this bad. Like this is a high quality MLB pitcher.
Righties are eating him alive.
That is the obvious concern. Like you take arguably the best righty in the game, at least, on paper, there's been over the last year and a half, nobody better than Aaron Judge. And you now put him in Yankee Stadium. That is obviously scary. The total has gone up. Musgrove is not pitching well against righties. He's allowed 6 home runs in his 5 starts. Like, obviously concerning. All those numbers kind of correlated to Kyle Gibson. I know Gibson was worse against lefties. So that's like the one concern, but the Yankees lineup is really top heavy. Again, has to navigate the Judge Torres combination and LeMahieu hitting fourth, and like that's scary, but I can get to Musgrove. I like Matt Liberatore.
Mark calling him Mickey as a joke, but he just Liberatore, just make it up a first name for him since they don't have it on there.
Yep.
But yeah, listen, the one issue that we had with it was the random 1 inning relief appearance. Right. It's like, why did we do this? Right. So he pitched but 95 pitches in this first start. So like, I have to have confidence here that they're going to let him go out there. The one issue we always talk about with Cleveland, that unless your name is Michael Kopech, apparently, is they don't strike out.
Yep.
Michael Kopech just struck out 12 of them the other day, but like, that seems more unlikely to happen here tonight, but everything else about them is terrible. 271 WOBA, a 120 ISO, a 219 batting average against left-handed pitching. Limiting the damage, you just hope that the Cardinals offense can do something to Bieber. Bieber's also been very good, to put him in position to get a win here, but I think Liberatore is in a really good spot as well.
Yeah. It's definitely a little concerning. I'm trying to look to see if there's been anything. I don't think there's been anything official on like a pitch count. Because why would there be? Like, I know he had the random relief appearance, but like this feels like a spot they would just let him go. And let's not forget, like this is a top prospect in the Cardinals system that just struggled a lot. Like he had his struggles last year. So does any other prospect. Also, do we give some love to Jeremy Williams here, John? Took second last night. What did we finish in second? And Jeremy, don't tweet us over at Fantasy Alarm. We want to, or tweet John and I too.
Let us see what you won, man. Yeah. Or get to the Discord if you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, man. You see everything that's going on right there. 50% off the first 6 months. Promo code MLB50. 7-day free trial. You get in our Discord. You can talk to James and I during the day. Send your lineup ideas and whatnot, and we can have some fun. So congrats, Jeremy, on the second place there. Let's see if we can keep on that winning into the weekend, man.
Yeah. I'm going to ask, because you were a Alex Wood fan on the podcast. Are you sticking by your guns with Alex Wood here?
I don't know how I can't, because Milwaukee has the highest strikeout rate in baseball against left-handed pitching, 30.9%. They have a 209 batting average, which is dead last in baseball against left-handed pitching this year. They're 275 WOBA, dead last in baseball against left-handed pitching this season. They have a 280 BABIP, so it's not even like they're getting like ridiculously unlucky. Their 343 slug is only second worst to Cleveland, who's they got to deal with another lefty tonight themselves. So like, yeah, it is wild to me. I think just looking at these numbers, also complete side tangent, but the Dodgers also with a 209 batting average against lefties. You just take that for what it's worth. Right. They can't hit them, but they have a 220 ISO. unlike Milwaukee, that does not. So yes, the big worry here with Wood is like, what is the pitch count deal? Right? Why is he getting pulled 4 1/3, 4 2/3, 4 2/3? And it really doesn't seem like he's not getting in trouble in all of these games. I know you said he's just coming back from a little bit of an injury, so sure, maybe that had to do with it as well. But I mean, 4 strikeouts in 4 2/3, 5 strikeouts in 4 1/3 in the last 2 starts. There's like a ceiling strikeout game here. If they let him throw 80 to 85 pitches tonight, he could go 5 1/3, 6 innings, 6, 7 strikeouts. So yes, long-winded yes for me with Alex Wood tonight.
A little steam from the field, 8% projected ownership, which is like
he's $6,300, right? So it's like it doesn't take a lot for him to. I mean, this guy, the first 3 starts of the year, 8K, 7,900. And then, the pitch count issue started popping up around, and now he's down to 63.
Right.
So I am willing to go Alex Wood, and I am also willing to go Patrick Corbin at
Oh, you
$5,900.
try to sneak that one in there. That was well,
I'm
talk
willing.
to us about it.
It is the same thing I wrote up the other day. I know Kansas City obviously hits the lefties a little bit better than his most recent opponent here, but it's only like a little bit better. It's not like a tremendous upside. We're also not asking Corbin to go out there and be a 10K pitcher. I basically need him to pitch to being a 6K starter, which against Detroit, as I wrote up in the playbook that day, if he goes out and gives us exactly what he's been giving us all season, 6 innings, 2 earned, 3 or 4 strikeouts, and then they get a win, then he gives you 15 or 16 fantasy points, and we're living large, right? I mean, against the Cubs, 7 innings, 2 earned, 6 strikeouts is like a ceiling performance, 22 fantasy points. If he gives you another 15-9 today against Kansas City, then I think that you're probably in a decent spot here. Kansas City's pitching Jordan Lyles. Are you telling me Washington can't beat Jordan Lyles tonight? Like, I don't think anybody would make that bet. So, I think Corbin at $5,900 is, again, worth a dart throw if you're making a bunch of lineups. He's not a core lineup play for me. He's probably not even making the 3-max lineup for me tonight. But I do think Corbin should be in your player pool if you're making a bunch of lineups here.
Okay. I got nothing. I am playing a 3-max, so I personally will not have Patrick Corbin, but I understand if you are playing a 20-max to get some shares. That's it.
Our guy Jeremy's in the Discord already. People got all their usernames, Jeremy. So congrats on the win. We'll chat with you up in Discord then, man. Let us know who you are in Discord, and so we can give you proper flowers for your win there.
You deserve the flowers, Jeremy.
Go in the winner circle channel, man, and let everybody know. So and I'll look into your screenshot problem there. We'll see what's going on. So all right, let's go into the next position over here, James. Take a look at the catcher spot. Again, we find ourselves in a situation here where we don't always look to spend up at catcher. If we can find the right value on a slate, we'll go there. What's your first look take on this catcher spot today?
I mean, obviously, I think if you're spending up, Adley Rutschman makes a lot of sense. John Gray has struggled against lefties. The strikeout rate's kind of just evaporated for this guy. I don't really know what happened to him. I think Salvi Perez. I know you talked about Salvi's lack of power against lefties this year, but it's been there in years past. So I'm just surprised that it just wouldn't be there if you're not playing Corbin. I think Salvi, if you're spending up those two, Real Muto. Phillies had a pretty good game against a lefty yesterday. That's probably it for me over 4K. The first person I'd be really interested in, and a lot of exposure I'm getting to, is Francisco Alvarez, 3,300. I feel like this is the easiest catcher play of the day. The only negative Francisco Alvarez has is that Buck Showalter continues to hit badminton.
I don't mind that. I think that Alvarez obviously being in Coors Field is going to be super popular. It also, do we have that lineup out yet?
No, I just looked.
Walter's going to. I was going to say sadly we can't even guarantee that he'll be in that lineup.
Yes, that is a very sad fact.
Kybert's on the right side of his split this year, facing Jordan Lyles. I don't think that's an awful spot at $3,800. If you're not playing Alex Wood, William Contreras at $3,700 is kind of interesting there as well. And then again, Zunino 2 years ago hit 400 against lefties. So if you're not in on Liberatore, he's there. Alejandro Kirk obviously having a down season, but he could be somebody against Varland tonight that you'll take a look at in your lineup. Moreno hits lefties. He's $2,900. So a lot of good value. And then Furman's back in the lineup here tonight, $2,600 against Corbin. And again, if you're not building a Corbin lineup, why not just throw Freddie Furman in there hitting 7th tonight?
Yeah, continues to hit. I kind of like your Alejandro Kirk call. Louis Varland although he's kind of been good, righties are hitting him very hard this year. And obviously, the one thing we know about Toronto's lineup is they have a boatload of righties. Like, plus,
Mhm.
that kind of correlates with the Gosman thing. Like righties against Louis Varland this year, 340 WOBA, 274 ISO, 47% hard hit rate, 40% fly ball rate. I know Alejandro Kirk has been a shell of himself from a year ago, but
Yeah.
Springer,
He,
Bichette,
he's hitting better against righties this year. Kirk is 253, 368 slug, 700 OPS. Both of his home runs against righties. Lefties, he's miserable. 233 slug, 233 batting average. Like if he hit only against righties, his numbers would look a little bit better than they do right now. So
okay. Well, I mean, that's not terrible. If you
nope.
believe that Louis Varland is going to continue to struggle against righties because the Blue Jays have a lot of them.
Sure. Yeah. So I think those. I think tonight's some pretty good value plays at catcher.
Yep.
And then if we want to spend up, obviously we know who the spend up options are going to be on the slate. First base. We had Pete Alonso on the cover today. Shock of all shocks was just really not putting a Met on the cover
Rugnet
of the
Odor.
playbook.
I like salute to Rugnet Odor. He also made my
Yeah.
value article today. But like,
Mets are in cores. We didn't get a Met on
what
the
are we
cover of the
doing?
real
What are we
playbook. Just
doing?
absolute
JV, what are we
insano
doing?
world
I know.
here.
What are we doing?
Uh, I mean, yeah, listen, great call on Rugnet Odor. That guy has been ridiculous lately, but
Yep.
we at least carried the flag
Yep.
here for the
We
Mets
sure
today
did.
on the
We sure
podcast.
did.
So obviously Pete Alonso against Connor Siebold, $5,700 lock and load.
Yeah. Nothing. I had nothing else. That's all.
Yeah.
He's the top spin of the slate.
Yeah, you mentioned Varland with the righties. I mean, Vladdy really hasn't taken off quite
Yep.
yet, but nobody ever plays the Blue
No
Jays.
one's playing.
So if you
Nobody's playing the Blue Jays tonight.
nobody ever plays the Blue Jays. So if you want to be a contrarian play tonight, I mean, a lineup that has as much upside as any lineup in baseball
Right.
and nobody plays them is always Toronto.
Yep. Well, they
Matt
just came up
Olson,
like 3 games ago. They scored 20 runs. So like, that's
yeah, nobody ever plays them, and that was on like a day slate
Yep.
too, when they weren't even on the main
Yep.
slate, so it didn't even matter. Olson always in play as well. If you're anti-sale, Christian Walker's there at 46. Certainly a guy in play. Talk to me about the Padres here tonight. The Yankees calling up Vasquez here. We didn't even talk about Vasquez at pitcher. He's
Yeah.
$4,000. Um, you know, do you have any Vasquez in lineups today? Do you have any interest in Vasquez? And if you don't, I mean, what are we doing with the Padres here?
I don't have Randy Vasquez. His minor league splits this year were actually better for right-handers. Now, that could be for many different reasons. Like that could also just not correlate to the major leagues. But righties this year, 309, 880 OPS at AAA. Way, way better. Unfortunately, I like the Padres lefties here. Like I love Soto, and I'm playing Rugnet Odor.
You playing Cronenworth
He's
then?
been very bad outside of like one game, right? The Washington game.
Sure.
And then everything else, like, yeah, he homered against KC, but man, it has been like he hadn't homered since 415 before his last 2 home runs. Like he just hasn't
Right.
been great this year. He's hitting second. If you want to play Padres, like it's a short porch in right field. Like that's obviously the allure of playing the Padres. I don't think I would play a $4,400 Cronenworth when he's struggling that much. Like I'd rather play Nathaniel Lowe 4,300, who's really heating up. I know the power's still not there, but 395 over his last 10 games. I feel the same way
Yeah.
kind of about Garrett Cooper, just kind of
Yeah, I
heating
mean, I
up.
think if you're playing Detmers for the strikeout rate, I think a good hedge is also having a lineup with Miami in it,
Yep.
just because again, the strikeout numbers again for Detmers are great. Miami strikeout numbers against lefties are decent, but they also, like I mentioned, they're all the ISO's
Right.
high, ad Woba's high, and Cooper this year, small sample size, of course, but hitting 400 with a 567 slug against
Right.
lefties, 12 for 30. So a guy that can do some damage there against left-handed pitching. Uh, What do you make of Vinny Pasquantino? Our guy Howard Bender had a home run call on him today, hitting second 4K.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a slump, but he's a very good hitter who hits lefties well. And the only thing is, Patrick Corbin has not pitched well against lefties in years past, but that has changed. It has really just only been righties that have done any damage against them. Like lefties have an 057 ISO against him. That is like that's now
Yeah,
is it luck potentially? Is it him just being better against the side of the plate he should be better against? That's also possible. I'm okay with it. Pasquantino 367 WOBA is very solid. He contributes to why they're so good against left-handed pitching, but I'm probably gonna pass, and I'd probably get to someone like Brennan Jury 3900. I'd probably rather play Alec Boehm, who continues to hit lefties at a powerful rate. Mark Vientos is 33. I know like that would kind of be crazy playing Vientos over Alonso, but we've seen I use this example like a bunch this year, but it's the Pujols Goldschmidt thing from last year. Like when Pujols was on that insane run, you couldn't play Goldschmidt and Pujols. And Goldschmidt won the MVP. But there were times where if you play Goldie and Pujols went yard, that was how you differentiate from your chalk, right?
Yeah.
Like there were every time a lefty's on the mound, you get both of them in the lineup. Goldschmidt was always the more popular one. Pujols was always $2,000. Like
we were always playing
always,
for that
always.
too.
And that's how you differentiate in tournaments, especially when you look at the field and the ownership that's coming in on the Mets. It is Mets 7 tiers down, everybody else. Like it's just a big mess. So like I would play Vientos 3,300. So like I like Pasquantino. I mean we love Pasquantino, but like I don't know if this is the best spot for him.
Sure. The only other guy I'll throw out here is Tristan Casas. I know he's again in another little bit of a slump. All of the Red Sox lineup is in a slump coming out of LA. But before that series, it looked like Casas was finally starting to turn around. He had a stretch there with like 3 homers in 5 games. And then you look at the numbers for lefties against Brandon Pfaadt here. 310 average, 595 slug, 1,000 OPS. He's allowed 7 total home runs on the year already as it is. So guys giving up a boatload of home runs. So we like lefties in Boston, and they're all expensive except for Casas. So do you want to get a Boston stack in your lineup here tonight? If you're going to fit Yoshida and Devers, you're almost have to play Tristan Casas tonight in there.
So. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, cheap power, right? That's what he is.
Yeah, cheap power, exactly. Let's go on over to the second base position here, unless you have anybody else. At the top is Marcus Semien. We haven't discussed Rangers yet, outside of a brief mention of Nathaniel Lowe. Where was Jonah Heim's price at? Was he even in the
no, Sandy Leone.
Leone in there, figures. So Semien has hit righties really well this year. Grayson hasn't pitched spectacularly great. So I think Texas is pretty interesting. I know that you're in on NATO. Spoiler alert there at shortstop. I like Seager a lot tonight as well. I think if you're not playing one, you play the other for me tonight. So Semien's very much in my player pool tonight.
Sorry, I was just distracted by a Mets lineup that does not include Mark Vientos
or Francisco Alvarez.
No, it does. He's hitting 9th.
Okay, good.
He's hitting 9th. No surprise.
That's okay. Actually, you know what? That's fine. Wrap around. Is Brett Beatty playing?
Brett Beatty is hitting 5th. We'll run down the lineup real quick because I think this was key news and it's a hilarious additions at the end of the lineup.
God.
Not hilarious, but like let's be real here. Nimmo leading off, Lindor second, McNeil third, Alonso, Beatty, Starling Marte, Dan Vogelbach, Tommy Pham, Francisco Alvarez. So they've elected to use 2 guys that are great players, hitting 7th and 8th night. I'm sure Justin Freeland is doing exactly what you're doing right now.
Him and Adam Ronis now just banging their head against the wall.
Ronis is cursing, not drinking soda or like sugar because Ronis is weird like that, but he's just shaking his head, just profusely cursing, throwing things.
Just went for a long
walk.
Probably.
Yeah, right.
Ronis likes going for a long walk.
Recording his Ronis bonus while doing it.
Yeah.
But Mets lineup interesting. Semien, great play. Grayson Rodriguez, dude. as bad as he's been against lefties, because it's been horrible, he's like been
Yeah.
pretty bad against righties too. 352 WOBA, 208 ISO. There is some positives to Grayson Rodriguez, like his xFIP 404, 26% strikeout rate. Like he does
Yeah.
miss a lot of bats and doesn't really allow a lot of fly balls either. At least to righties, like there's not a lot of fly balls.
Yeah.
But I'm down getting to Texas tonight, Marcus Semien included into that.
You've been team Nolan Gorman all season long. Does that change for you at all, knowing that Shane Bieber is the guy on the mound?
No, because Shane Bieber, although he has been pretty good, is struggling against lefties. WOBA allowed against left-handed bats 340. ISO allowed 171, 41% hard hit rate. Now, the strikeouts could be a little alarming, but what's the one thing that we've said about Shane Bieber all year long? The strikeouts have been down. Like he's not the same guy. He has an 18% strikeout rate this year. Nolan Gorman, that's what we worry about. Against right-handed pitching, he has a 27% strikeout rate. Very concerning. He also has a 300 ISO, and he has a 404 WOBA. The only person on his team with better numbers in both those categories is Paul DeJong, and unfortunately, I didn't want to admit that.
But I thought you were about to say Paul Goldschmidt, and then to see DeJong come off your mouth.
Paul. Yeah, there is a Paul. It is Paul. It's not Goldschmidt though. Right. But Gorman hitting third, splitting Goldschmidt, Arenado, like he just is the guy that's going to get more pitches to hit because like Arenado had a stretch of 7 games with 7 home runs, and Goldschmidt's the reigning MVP with multiple MVPs on his mantle. So yeah, I like Nolan Gorman. Now it's more of a one-off for me. Like I would rather play lefty, so you could get to Newt Bar like other guys in the Cardinals lineup, but Nolan Gorman for me definitely a solid one-off, and I still think he looks like Colby Conway.
Going a little bit further down, I think Whit Merrifield's kind of interesting. Just lost stolen base upside with him hitting 6. You mentioned Drury already. Got to go. Yeah, both Mets here, McNeil and Escobar, are obviously going to be interesting spots because of the Colorado match.
No Escobar.
Oh, okay, no Escobar then. So McNeil then fits at 3,900, hitting in the top of that lineup there. Anybody else for you of interest as we move down the list?
Yeah, Manuel Valdez, if he's in the lineup, 3,100. He's been just like kind of like a powerful dude, 7 extra base hits in 23 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rugi. I mean, kind of have to mention him.
You're skipping Adam Frazier to get to Rougned Odor?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't. I get it. I get it. Like,
another extra base hit for Adam Frazier.
I know it's been crazy. It's been a crazy stretch. I really do think Rougned Odor is like, it's so funny how this is happening because he has not been good for so long. Like, so long. But this stretch, he has 11 RBIs over his last 10 games, John.
I know.
You know how many? He has 11 RBIs over his last 4 games. Like, when you look at this last 10, all 11 of those RBIs are 521, 524, and 525. I don't know if it's going to continue. They moved him up in the lineup. He's hitting 5th tonight. Yeah. They switched him and Carpenter. I don't know. Like, I get it. Frazier's been great too, but like, the guy has 11 RBIs in 4 games. Short porch Yankee Stadium, a stadium that he's played in,
and a rookie on the mound. Right. There's a lot. No, I agree with you. Just playing some devil's advocate, obviously, because Odor has to be checking in tonight. With interest, I would assume.
I'll pull that up. I'll see what.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not the most. I'm sure he's not like the highest projected second baseman out there.
McNeil just naturally because the multi-position eligibility too.
But if we're looking at a low rostered Rougned Odor tonight, I mean that would be interesting.
7%. He's the 5th highest projected second baseman.
Okay.
We have Luis Garcia of the Washington Nationals checking in with decent ownership. We also have Michael Garcia checking in with decent ownership, who has been good against lefties, $2,400. It's a really small sample. He's starting to heat up a little bit, 5 hits in his last 2 games. I know you like Corbin, so you might not be as much on the Garcia train, but 2 stolen bases his last. in each of the last. He hasn't stolen base in each of the last 2.
Right. And the other one I guess I would throw out there, Matt Duffy's leading off again. You mentioned Corbin, right? So it's just third base.
What was the end? What was the end of that Patrick Corbin little rant there? Was that saying like, please don't play him because I want Patrick Corbin? Is that what Is that what I heard?
I mumble something under my breath. I don't remember. Devers is your top price third baseman. We talked about the numbers for FOD against lefties here. Devers and the rest of Boston's offense, they're all struggling, but they'll break out of it soon enough here. So I definitely do like that spot for him for sure. What are we doing with Riley, Bregman grouping?
Oh boy. I mean, we mentioned it, right? Like Bregman, every time we think that he's coming around, he just lets us down. So Houston's gonna be low owned. They face James Caprillion, who's been hit against everyone. He's been hit harder against lefties though, so probably not on Bregman. You know, if you want to, coming off the game that he had yesterday, the double dong off Aaron Nola, now back-to-back multi-hit games, hits in 7 straight. I mean, you could definitely do so. We've always said this about Austin Riley, because you and I over the last few years have always been like someone use it. We've just always used him in our lineup construction.
Yeah.
When he is going good, he is going good. Taijuan Walker worse against lefties this year, but like great hitting environment in Atlanta. Always like their lineup is great always. He just hasn't been great against righties. Taijuan Walker though, 167 ISO allowed to right-handed bats, so you can get to Riley if you want. I probably just stay away from most of this tier. I'd be okay getting to Chapman if you're playing Blue Jays, but he's been kind of bad. I probably, to be honest, just go like to Gunnar Henderson, who was good again yesterday. He's just kind of coming into his own, figuring it out. 320 averages last 10, even a stolen base. Alec Boehm, we mentioned, and then, I mean, all roads lead to Brett Beatty, $3,400.
Yeah, I don't know how you just don't plug Brett Beatty into your lineup here, right? Like that just,
dude.
It feel like a mistake not having him in there. Nolan Jones called up too. By
Nolan
the way,
Jones called up. Yep.
That's kind of, again, probably not the spot to use him, but highly touted prospect at one point. You know, getting a debut here,
breaking at AAA.
Yeah.
Can I just one
tough spot? Tough. Unfortunately, he's debuting in Scherzer.
No, that's just one point on Brent Beatty. When I was doing like a deep dive on him today, he's hitting 240 this year. Expected batting average 284. He has a 394 slug. Expected slug 488. 313 WOBA. Expected WOBA 367. Just unlucky game after unlucky game. Guy hitting 5th in Coors Field, hitting behind Pete Alonso. Like lock and freaking load play. Brent Beatty, $3,400.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. Again, if you want to go against Chris Sale tonight, a lot of Arizona guys hit lefties well, so you could go Longo or Rivera. They're all there. If you're not playing Alex Wood, Owen Miller just keeps on being great. So $2,900 for Owen Miller. And then we talked about it last night. We kind of stopped in our tracks, actually. DJ LeMahieu is $2,600. As we mentioned, righties are just hammering Joe Musgrove. He's hitting 4th at $2,600 in the Yankees lineup.
Is that like, because we didn't really like hit on Musgrove's struggles against righties last night when we saw the price. Like we stopped at the price, but like we just kind of moved on. Maybe because like both you and I think Musgrove is a better pitcher than what he showed. Does that?
Yeah, that we were also very locked in on Beatty at the time too, being like, can't believe he's this cheap.
Very true. So. Very true. Does this? Seeing the Musgrove splits, and now I don't think he's this bad, and I don't think he's going to pitch this bad forever. Does that make you more interested in LeMahieu at maybe the cheapest price tag we've seen, like since he was a Rocky, or like before he was a Rocky? Like,
yeah, well, I mean, like think about it this way, right? Gleyber Torres, very expensive. Aaron Judge, very expensive. If you want to play a Yankee stack righties against Musgrove tonight, you almost have to put LeMahieu in there, and it doesn't hurt that he's hitting
Right.
fourth, right? So you get the 1-2 hitters of the Yankees, and then the 4 hitter, you're not playing Rizzo the lefty, and that stack like puts you in a really good spot if you want to play those 3 with with Gossman here tonight. There's certainly plenty of value on the board as we've discussed to get you the players down there in your lineup tonight. So if you went ahead and played Gossman with Livatore with those 3 Yankees, you have $3,800 a player, and there's value in the outfield. There's value at catcher tonight, so you can make that Yankee stack work. It's just like we said, like Brett Beatty's hitting fifth, in core. So most people probably aren't looking at that, but it's definitely a way. It could be a way to go.
So you're saying you wouldn't play Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who's hit 3 home runs in his last 6 games?
No.
Okay, me neither. Just throw. I just figured I'd just give a shout to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who's probably hit his first. I mean, this has to be the biggest power surge of his entire life, like dating back to like
100%.
little league.
Yeah, probably true. All right, let's go on over to the shortstop position here. We'll make sure we leave some time at the end of the show to make a lineup or 2 for everybody. Shortstop, Witt does get the lefty matchup against Corbin. I know you talk about Witt's better splits against lefties here. I already said I love Seager tonight, $5,400. If we're not playing the value play, we'll talk about it in a moment. Seager for me is where I'm looking to spend up.
Agreed. And Mark giving us Rafael Devers out of the lineup. Boston leading Raimel Tapia off this evening.
Okay.
Verdugo, Turner, Yoshida, Refsnyder, Cassis, Kike Hernandez, Emmanuel Valdez, Connor Wong is the Boston Red Sox lineup. Not a great lineup.
They just had an off day. Why is Devers not playing after they didn't play yesterday?
Not a great lineup.
That doesn't make
Tapia
sense.
and Refsnyder and both in the top 5 of a lineup is a bold strategy in 2023.
Well, it doesn't make me want to play FOB, but I probably Sox now. So.
Yeah, it does. Yes. I think there's intrigue for me in each of the top 3 guys in Witt, Seager, Lindor. Seager being the number 1 guy, given what Grayson Rodriguez has been against lefties. We talked about Trey Turner, how disappointing he's been. He didn't, right on par for the course yesterday. It was disappointing as heck again.
Sure was.
But then it's again, I really am just going all the way down. All the way down. I don't know if there's anyone else you want to stop at on the way, John.
I mean, we talk about Toronto, Bichette, nobody plays him. He's there.
True, I didn't even mention him. And
no one's gonna play him
this year.
No one's gonna play him.
320, 31 RBIs on the year. No one's gonna play
hitting
him.
second in front of Vladdy Guerrero and in front of George Springer. Like no one's gonna play him.
I don't know if there's anyone else you want to stop at. We can go we'll just get to the inevitable. Officially in the lineup, hitting 9th today, Zach Nato. Crushing lefties, dude. Crushing lefties this year.
Yeah. Not even not crushing lefties. Absolutely just smashing left-handed.
Yep. 273 ISO, 415 WOBA, and Jesus Luzardo for as much as we like. And this is why I'm scared to even consider him and why I would actually have some pretty solid interest in the Angels. 358 WOBA, 227 ISO allowed, 50% fly ball rate allowed. That to a lineup that includes Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Hunter Renfroe, we know historically has been good against lefties. Drury, good against lefties. Chad Wallach, small sample, has almost a 600 ISO against righties. And Nato, 273 ISO. Like, sheesh. 2,200? I'm playing, like, dude, you just can't, like, I know. I understand. I was looking up ownership. Lindor is double everyone else. Zach Nato, 4% tonight. What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? 4%.
He's gonna help you. Like I said, I gave you those like Yankees there, and then Gossman, and you just plug in. You just plug in Nato at 2,200, and all of a sudden now you have like $4,300 a player. Just like you can go put in Pete Alonso, and we'll hit outfield now. Starling Marte is a guy that you can build a lineup around at $4,300 if you want to. Brandon Nimmo's 49, getting some more of that's Met exposure is doable tonight.
Why didn't you mention? I mean, we're live on air and you didn't mention Tommy Pham. Are you
Surprisingly
serious?
not. Where do they
Are
even
you
have him at?
serious?
You know what's gross? At $2,800,
To do it?
probably worth a dark throw. Yeah, it's probably worth a dark
No,
throw.
I don't know if I don't even know if we can go like who would you rather play? And we could just move on to things that actually matter. Vogelbach or Tommy Pham?
Vogelbach gets on base, but you can't play Vogelbach and Goldschmidt.
I know it has to be
So
Pham
it has to be Pham. Yeah.
just
Or
by
not
default,
Goldschmidt,
right?
Alonso. You can't play Vogelbach and Alonso
By
together. So
default, it has to be Tommy Pham because
yeah,
yeah.
yep,
Okay.
it
I
does.
mean,
It does.
I'm not playing.
It does. It's gross, but that's the fact of the matter. So
I did say in Discord today, John. I said I will be playing all 9 Mets, and I don't care who knows it.
just
But I take it back.
Across 3 lineups.
Yeah, I take it back. Seeing Vogelbach and Tommy Pham in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's see here. Obviously, Judge is very much in play. We talked about the righty
Yep.
numbers. Acuna for sure. Jordan against Caprillion. Caprillion is not going to no hit the Astros again. I hope not. I hope that doesn't end up being the case.
No. I'm very confident that his 447 WOBA and 364 ISO allowed to left-handed pitchers will prevail today.
Yeah, we'll get us over the hump. I agree with you there. Soto, as you mentioned, just like coming around, a monster against righties, 4 walks yesterday, right? So a lot of good numbers potentially for him there. What other top outfielders are you looking at here?
So I think it's really hard to pick today. I would say the literal only one above Juan Soto that I wouldn't play is Byron Buxton. That's honestly, I would probably play every other single player at this tier. I love Soto probably as much as anybody else in this tier, and Jordan. Those are probably, if I was pinpointing 2, it would be them. But I'm not kidding. I would play every other player in this tier other than Byron Buxton. And that's obviously the kiss of death, and Buxton's going to double.
I was going to say, I'll let you make that call there. I'm with you though. I like all those guys there. And then if you want to go a little bit below, Soler has that power against Settlers. Adolis for righties against Rodriguez at 54. Sedmo back in the lineup at 53.
Yes, sir.
Certainly can run him out there against Gray here tonight. So that tier is fine. We talked about Nimmo already. No one's going to play Springer. Kelnick, I know, is in a tough spot against Keller. Castellanos has a matchup against Schuster here. So a lot of guys in the upper 4Ks in good spots.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Springer finally coming around is good because we've talked about it all year that he's been just getting unlucky. Yeah. The righties against Louis Varland has been a thing. I love Castellanos against the lefty as well. And then this next tier is really interesting because Lourdes has been a monster. Renfroe has been a monster against lefties his entire career, especially from the power department. You have Starling Marte at 4,300. I'm not going to just skip over Lane Thomas because you love Lane Thomas, so I'll just say Lane Thomas's name and keep pushing.
Well, Lane Thomas against a lefty usually.
Yeah, I know. I know, but like you love Lane Thomas. So I wanted to pay homage.
He's a good player.
He is a very good player. And then I do kind of like Nootbaar. I know he's been bad, but like Bieber has not been great against righties. But you could also just play McNeil here if you're already not playing him at second. Like there's a lot to like. What else do you like down here? I put Jarren Duran in my
Duran's probably fine.
Did I mention he? No, he's not in the lineup either tonight.
Cappy and Refsnyder. So yeah, I have no idea what's going on with tonight.
That is
Conforto at $3,400.
Conforto $3,400.
His story is cheaper for no reason. He's $3,200. He gets on, he steals. So it's just the way that lineup works with him.
He still misses.
I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd. I mentioned Tommy Pham is $2,800. I guess you could go there. You can play Odor in the outfield tonight, by the way. Like I think that's going to be a pretty popular spot as a spend down there as well. So a lot of really good spots here tonight.
I'm gonna do a little refresh here, and see if we're missing anything here based on some lineups. Let's go scroll back down, see what we got. Olivares hitting 6th, Owen Miller hitting 5th. Probably not on Refsnyder, right? Because he's hitting against a righty. What about Tapia? Where's Tapia? Leading off. He's min salary, I'm assuming.
Tapia,
Min
yeah,
salary.
2K. You
Would
could if you want to get there. Yeah, there's paths to it. It's definitely not my favorite spot, but I want to sit there and fight with you if you want to go there.
I'm just throwing it out. Like, we've talked lefties against Brandon Pfaadt, right? Like, that's been a thing.
Yep.
So
let's build a lineup here. We got a couple of minutes left. So Gossman, I guess, is where you want to start this.
No, I don't care. I'll go any of the top three. How would you
I'm still playing Hunter Brown, so $9,900. I think you take the savings there. What's your SP2 tonight?
Detmers or Liberatore would be the two.
Okay.
I think Detmers probably has the higher ceiling, especially with the strikeouts.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
Is that okay?
I think that works. Alvarez, obviously, is catcher. Yep. Alonso.
3,300. Alonso is 57. I don't know why the Mets haven't updated, but Beatty at
Odor
third.
Second.
Get that out of the way. Odor at second.
Ooh, we're gonna have some good value.
Ooh, we both thought at the same time, like, oh, we're gonna be able to spin up at outfield. We both thought it at the same time. Love that. $5,000 per position. With Starling Marte probably being plugged.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could do Marte. I still think you could go Conforto against Peralta the way you swing the bat right now at $3,400. I think.
All right, well then we're going to be able to afford everything.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I think you plug Conforto, ride the hot streak, and then play like Judge and whatever else is there. Can you fit Soto and Judge together?
Soto, no. We'll be able to get Jordan.
Okay.
Jordan Soto.
Love it. Yeah.
You like that? I mean, so do I.
Yeah, run it down for everybody again. Give it the lineup up.
Lineup is Hunter Brown, Reed Detmers at pitcher, Francisco Alvarez at catcher, Pete Alonso at first, Rougned Odor second base, Brett Beatty third, Zach Nato at short, and our outfield consists of Michael Conforto, Juan Soto, and Jordan Alvarez.
Love that at all. So, guys, that wraps up today's stream. Again, we'll be in the Discord there up until roster lock tonight. If you're not already a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, you see the scroll down below, but also you can go to fantasyalarm.com/all-pro. Use promo code MLB50. We'll get you 50% off the first 6 months. That's just $19.98 a month for the first 6 months. And it covers all sports, not just MLB, but NBA, NHL, NFL through the first couple of months there, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, WNBA, EPL, everything that we cover here on the site is included in the All-Pro package. You get access to our premium Discord channel as well. And we also have a 7-day free trial now included there also. So no better time than now to join the family, get in all the action. James and I, again, will be in the Discord. Good luck. Have a good holiday weekend for those of you, a long weekend celebrating Memorial Day. And